Here it is, the amazing place where miracles are actually reality. Place where some of the greatest discoveries in the history of space exploration were made. And of course, the birthplace of two Voyagers. This is NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, California.
4, 3, 2, 1. MDS. We have ignition. We have a liftoff.
Roll program is in on time. Vehicle response is normal.
1977. NASA launched two spacecraft to space, named Voyager 1 and Voyager 2. On board, there were two golden records, carrying message from the planet Earth. Among photographs and several sounds from Earth, there is old Georgian folk song Chakrulo. The record is intended as a combination time capsule and an interstellar message to any civilization, alien or far future human, that may recover either of the Voyagers. After exactly 45 years, halfway around the world, in the country of Georgia, there will be a statue dedicated to this historic mission and the Georgian polyphonic singing.
I am so deeply touched by this magnificent act of creativity and remembrance. I believe it's the only place on Earth where the Voyager interstellar message and the great Voyager spacecraft, with their epical achievements of the first reconnaissance of the outer solar system, and of course their Voyager 1's important, profound image of our tiny planet, taken just before Voyager departed for perhaps 1 to 5 billion years of circumnavigating the great Milky Way galaxy.
I think it's fantastic. It's the first statue dedicated to an interplanetary spacecraft, as far as I know. And it's so wonderful that it's being installed and built and designed in Georgia, and especially a country that has been inspired by a mission that carrying with them a bit of Georgian culture all the way outside of our solar system. It's unprecedented. There's nothing ever been like that before, and so this is really a thrill to all of us because that doesn't happen here very often.
I think it's really wonderful that you can connect to something like this through art in this case. But just, I mean, having that song on this record that is going out further than anybody or anything has ever gone from Earth, it's magical. And so the fact that, you know, Georgia is taking the time and trouble and expense to make a monument to that or an homage to that is really great.
The fact that they would think anything about it, you know, is interesting to me, amazing to me. You know, there's so much else going on in the world. Voyager was not that big, really. I mean, it's big to people like me and all the people that have touched it one way or another like you, but a lot of people don't know anything about Voyager, even today.
The dedication of a statue to Voyager is entirely appropriate, I think, because Voyager, I don't think it's overstating it to say it was at least one of, if not the science moment of the 20th century. I mean, it was an amazing shift.
Well, I think it's really remarkable, first of all, and really great that this is happening. I really think of the golden record as the ambassador to the Milky Way galaxy, and what this is a celebration of the fact that we could actually send such a message, which would be out there basically for billions of years. And it's a celebration, and certainly appropriate for Georgia to be part of that celebration with their sculpture. So there's something here on Earth to reflect on the fact that this ambassador is out there orbiting the Milky Way galaxy.
The results were stunning. I mean, this was transformational for planetary science. Jupiter was no longer this great mystery. Saturn's rings were no longer this great mystery. And the amount of science that was done, because remember, these things didn't go into orbit, right? They just flew past the giant planets, took a quick look over the shoulder. There's Jupiter, there's the moon. Oh, see ya. On to Saturn. And the amount of science they did in those flybys is incredible.
The Voyagers changed the world by expanding our neighborhood. First by exploring the outer planets, and now going out into interstellar space. And it's just so exciting to see the discoveries that Voyager has made.
Since 1990, it's been traveling through the heliosphere, across the heliopause, and now in interstellar space. And Voyager 1's been in interstellar space for over, well, almost coming up on a decade. It'll be a decade this August. To have an object and to have this time capsule of the golden record on it that will continue and outlive us on Earth and, you know, be out there for something, some being to find in the future is, I think, very inspiring.
It's turned out to be one of the most mind-boggling discoveries we've ever made, because now you realize with the diversity here, just think of what the diversity might be in our neighboring solar systems, and further on, other planets, other stars, around other stars are not just possible, they're real. We've seen them, we've counted them, there's thousands and thousands, in fact, maybe billions of them, as Carl Sagan would say, billions and billions of these places. And Voyager, we have Voyager to thank for that.
The Voyager legacy is the treasure trove of data about these outer worlds and now about the solar system itself.
They leave the solar system, both Voyagers. Voyager 1 is now, I think, 14.5 billion miles out. It takes 19 hours for a signal to come back from a 23-watt transmitter running off of a nuclear fuel supply that's 45 years old. Talk about getting your value for the money spent. So I think it's entirely appropriate to be dedicating a statue and any other kind of monument to this mission that changed the way we see everything.
Voyager for me was the inspiration for me to come to this amazing place. A place I couldn't even imagine working a place like this, but all I know that this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to get my hands and help build things like Voyager. I want to be able to build things like that goes to other planets. I wanted to see if I could build things that actually explore the surface of Mars. And I did, and my team did, and I was blessed to be able to have those experiences. And now I feel it's my job to share them with people around the world.
In the world today, we need to be able to look to the future and to have discoveries and to have reminders that we are all on this earth together, and that the earth is tiny. It's our home, but it's tiny.
It so fits what Carl Sagan was thought about when he was designing the record.
I think he would be very deeply gratified that the Voyager interstellar message and the spacecraft itself had managed to capture the imagination of the artist who created this magnificent statue, as well as the people of Georgia. I think he would be as delighted as I am.
We're just one pale, lonely dot. But we tend to think of ourselves as the only thing, but we're not the only thing. We're insignificant. And this record and this statue is an acknowledgement of that.
Other than math, what code is more universal than science and learning about who we are and where we came from? And that's what Voyager was really about.
Well, I'd like to thank the Georgian people for their enthusiasm about the Voyagers and the golden record, and for sharing that enthusiasm with the world through this beautiful sculpture.
Thank you very much for acknowledging Voyager, acknowledging the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, and what we do here, and just keep inspiring your own people. You know, be space explorers. Keep inspiring the Georgians to be space explorers and look at the stars and dream about what they can do in the future.
My request to Georgians is to be curious. Don't take things for granted. Ask questions. ask more questions and learn and discover, because you can do the same thing that we're doing.
As someone who actually worked at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory as the Voyager photos were coming in, I was really happy to hear about the plans to organize a sculpture dedicated to the Voyager probes and the Golden Records. The Voyager project and the work of NASA more broadly is a real inspiration to all of us to pursue our dreams and achieve the impossible. The story of Chakrulo and the Golden Record is a strong example of the enduring respect and friendship between our two countries. Carl Sagan and NASA picked Chakrulo for the Golden Record as a testament to Georgia's polyphonic singing tradition, which is of unique cultural and global significance. NASA picked the song despite pressure from the Kremlin to pick Moscow Nights instead. This year, we celebrate 30 years of U.S.-Georgia diplomatic relations. But as the Golden Record and the story of Chakrulo demonstrate, the friendship and connection between our two people has a much longer history.
It's been a tough decade for everybody. It's been a tough decade for Eastern Europe. And we can look at things like Voyager and some of the missions that are going on now. And I think that, at least for me, and I hope for the people of Georgia, it gives us hope that we've got a better future.
We take a lot of things like that for granted here in the United States. And we should really be paying more attention to the amazing things that we do get to participate in. When there's war and illness and stuff like that, we need something bigger to look out to.
I want to salute everyone involved with this great project and thank you from my heart, because what you are remembering with this work of art is a moment of oneness for the whole planet, a moment of complete inclusivity where our perspective, those of us who worked on the interstellar message, was embracing of a whole Earth with all the magnificent cultures within it, and notably the magnificent work of the Georgian men's choir and Chakrulo, which all of us, Carl Sagan, myself, and everyone involved, were so moved by and inspired by. I also want to thank you, Ramaz, my friend of all these years, who has been so steadfast in your passion to promote and to tell new generations about the power of the Voyager message. It means so much to me, and I'm going to raise an imaginary glass and say, until we're together,